Over the weekend, we were hearing reports anyway that Deontay Wilder was going to announce his comeback fight. And I kind of thought, all right, you're going to announce that on the day the Ring Magazine Award show is on and stuff like that. It seemed a little bit, and at the end of the day, we were hearing different names. We were hearing, plenty of names, some good, some not so good. Well, seconds out, have this article. Deontay Wilder is back. The Bronze Bomber signs for April comeback fight with opponent confirmed. Deontay Wilder reportedly signed for his comeback fight, ending any speculation that the 39-year-old will hang up his gloves. I wish you would. Seriously. It just doesn't... Yeah, it's done. Wilder, I think, is done. But, look, there you go. They were talking about him being knocked out by Zhilei Zhang. It says, despite that, Wilder will fight on. And it was recently announced that he would take his show to BLK Prime platform for an April heavyweight bout against journeyman Curtis Harper. Told by the Ring Magazine, he has signed his end of the deal, and now Boxing Scene reports that the Bronze Bomber has now put pen to paper to make the fight slated for April the 22nd, or 26th, I should say, in Atlanta, Georgia. Harper is 18-11 in his pro campaign, with losses to the likes of Zhilei Zhang, Bakadir Jalilov, and Guido Violino. He made headlines back in 2018 for immediately disqualifying himself from his bout with F.A. Ajagba. But when he exited the ring upon the first bell, what looked like was a lack of will to fight. He later explained it was a financial protest. The fight should be made official in the coming days. Deontay Wilder, need to tell me, will enter the ring as heavy favourite, hoping to rediscover the killer instinct that made him famous. If he does, there will likely be one last crack at the top. Curtis Harper. See if I can get box rec here, actually, because I'm using a tablet. Curtis Harper. Blimey. God almighty. Box rec is not letting me because I'm not logged in. Let's see if I can do that. If I don't get it this time, there we go. Curtis Harper has lost to the likes of Richard Torres Jr., Guido Violano, Bakadir Jalilov. Who else has he lost to? F.A. Ajagba, Zhilei Zhang, Chris Arreola, of all people, Donovan Dennis, Gerald Washington, and he lost his pro debut. Right. And how many knockout wins? 6 knockout losses, 36 years old. Yo, is that, first question, first and foremost, is that going to be on pay-per-view? I asked that with BLK, is that going to be on pay-per-view? Because that's a flipping disgrace if they're putting Deontay Wilder versus Curtis Harper on pay-per-view. That's a disgrace if you put that on pay-per-view. Why? Look, we're not going to speculate. I'm just going to say, I've seen some bad pay-per-view main events, but if they put that on pay-per-view, do one. That's what I got to say on that one to BLK. In terms of the opponent, well, my rationale and my thinking behind this is we heard better names, like I think it's Stefan Shaw. We actually heard that Guido Violano guy as well as potential names there. Now, why I think they've chosen Curtis Harper as well, it's not official yet, but let's just say it is. Why I suspect they've chose him as an opponent for Deontay Wilder is basically, I reckon that they're looking at him thinking, right, he's been knocked out a bunch of times. He's lost 11 fights. He's younger than Deontay Wilder at 36 years old. No, he doesn't look it there. He looks older in that picture. But is the heart really going to be there? Is the fire going to be there? And is he going to be dangerous for Deontay Wilder? Does he have a big punch? Not really. Does he have, better boxing skills? Well, most fighters have better boxing skills than Deontay Wilder, but maybe Wilder can get by. And Wilder's not going to really feel a perceived threat, you would imagine anyway, from someone like a Curtis Harper. So maybe he'd be more willing to go in there and let his hands go. Maybe he sparred him, I don't know, in the past, but surely a fight like that he'd be more willing to let his hands go. Now, they're talking about getting the killer instinct back, right? I don't even think it's that. I think what they're looking to do, because Wilder went from losing those back-to-back fights to Tyson Fury, quite devastatingly as well, took a beating in both fights, to looking like he had his killer instinct still against Robert Helenius, knocked him out in a round, to then really showing the extent of the damage in the in the Parker and in particular the Zhilei Zhang fight, where he's just not willing to let his punches go at the highest level anyway. He knew Robert Helenius well, he sparred him, he knew he could do what he needed to do, and he got the big knockout. So a lot of us thought, all right, he's back to normal. Evidently he wasn't. I don't think there'll be any difference in Deontay Wilder in this fight. I think that it'll just be that he's in there with a scrub, a run-of-the-mill journeyman who he'll dispatch of at relative ease. And I think the purpose of this is for Wilder to maybe try and at least get a highlight reel knockout, or certainly just to get the knockout, to be able to sell himself to someone like a Turki Al-Sheikh, the Ring Magazine, all under the same umbrella really. But I think that's what he's trying to do, to sell himself to the audience that, look, the Bronze Bomber is back. It's Deontay Wilder is back. He's got the right hand going. He's found his killer instinct. He's throwing his shots again. He's letting his hands go. So now I'm dangerous again. In order for him to be able to be sold to the public. Because you got to bear in mind, right? Had he beaten Joseph Parker, he would have fought Anthony Joshua in March of last year. We know that, right? When the 5v5 was announced, and it was announced that it would be Deontay Wilder, captain in Matchroom of all people, you never thought that would have happened. And he was there with Zhilei Zhang. You heard Turki Al-Sheikh mention that, Wilder, if he wins, Joshua Wilder. There's no doubt in my mind that had Deontay Wilder beaten Zhilei Zhang, they would have done, instead of Dubois versus Joshua, they would have done Wilder versus Joshua at Wembley Stadium. Irrespective of whether there was a title on the line or not, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been a bigger fight, especially if Wilder had the perception with the fans that, oh, it's the Bronze Bomber is back. It's Joshua versus the Bronze Bomber. Something's got to give. Someone's going to get KO'd. They would have done that, no doubt. So I think with Wilder and his team, this is as much about reselling Deontay Wilder to the audience. They don't want someone who's going to be a perceived threat. They don't want someone who's going to even risk a win. And I think Curtis Harper will go in there. He will maybe make a go of it, if it is in fact the case, and he will get obliterated with a right hand. And, people will be saying maybe he's back, maybe Wilder is back. And then they'll put him in against Anthony Joshua, they'll put him in there against whoever, and it'll be reverting to type. Just try and survive, don't hit me, oh, I'm on the ground again. That's what I think is going to happen. I think with Wilder, look, he's 40 this year. It's not going to get any better. He's not. So I think with Wilder, it's a case of, right, let's just see if we can squeeze one last big payday out of him. And if that means taking an absolute hit, because if they put this show on and they put it on pay-per-view, they are going to absolutely, because Wilder will be looking for big money. He'll be looking for big money. They will take an absolute shellacking on this show in the hope that Wilder comes through, he gets a good knockout, and is able to then, make a king's ransom for his next fight. That's all I think it is. So Wilder versus Curtis Harper. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on that one. I just hope it's not a pay-per-view. In the UK, you would imagine it'll be probably on DAZN or, Fight TV they don't really do much anymore. But, it'd be on a platform. You'd imagine DAZN would probably pick it up. I think they might have had I don't actually remember who had Crawford, because Crawford versus Avanesian was the only other fight BLK did, as far as I'm aware. But you'd imagine it'd be picked up in the UK. But in the US, you can't pay for that. Surely not. Surely they wouldn't put it on. Stranger things have happened. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. People, I will leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. And until next time, people, peace.